Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Maximus wins the die roll and starts us off. He draws and plays a swamp. Mika just plays a woodland stream. Ian's got a forest and passes to me. I've got a tap prairie stream for turn. Max plays a Nykthos and pays 2 for a jet medallion. Mika draws, plays an island, and then pays 2 mana for Verazol, who comes in with 2 +1/+1 counters. He passes after that. Ian's got a forest, and he casts Exali's Lorekeeper and passes after that resolves. My turn has me shocking in Watery Grave, and I'm able to cast Hashaton and pass to Max. Max plays Urborg and follows up with a Heartless Summoning. He then plays the Great Unclean One, and going to his end step, deals 2 to each of his opponents with the Unclean One's ability, which in turn makes him 3 Plague Bearers of Nurgle. Mika's turn has him playing an island and casting Rhystic Study. Ian's got a Cinder Glade for turn, and then plays an Otepec Huntsmaster, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study. I've got an Arcane Signet, unable to pay for the study, and pass after that. Max plays a Swamp and is able to cast the Speed Demon, paying the 1 for the study trigger. He follows it up with Eternal Thirst on the Great Unclean One, and then sends it at Mika for 3. Mika takes the hit, and Max's speed jumps up to 2. Going to his end step, Max then pings us all again for 2 and makes 3 more Plague Bearers. With his speed set to 2, he loses 2 and draws 2 cards with the Speed Demon's ability as well. Mika's got a Forest for turn, and then just has to discard down to hand size as he passes. Ian's playing a Kessig Wolfrun for his land, and he casts a Marauding Raptor, but doesn't pay the 1. He then casts a Soul Ring and pays the 1 for that, and follows up with a Curious Altasaur. After that, Ian passes, and during his end step, I cycle Curator of Mysteries to draw a card. I play a Plains and pay 2 for Key to the City, paying the 1 like a good boy, and passing after that. Max's turn has him drawing and then activating Nykthos, making 5 black mana, and uses the mana to cast Sower of Discord, choosing Mika and Ian to link together. Max then goes to combat and swings the Speed Demon at Mika and the Great Unclean One at me. Mika responds by casting Blink of an Eye and removing the 2 counters on Verazol to copy the kick spell, and he bounces the Demon and the Unclean One. Max then moves to his second main phase and recasts the Great Unclean One, and goes to his end step, dealing 2 to us and making 3 more Plague Bearers. Mika's got a Forest and then a Soul Ring, and he follows up with Lightning Greaves. He then casts a Coiling Oracle and reveals off the top a Forest, which puts into play. He then moves the Greaves onto the Oracle and passes to Ian. Ian's got a Progenitor icon in his main phase, naming Dinosaur. He then casts a Regal Behemoth and becomes the Monarch, and pays the 1 for the Rhystic Study trigger. After that, Ian passes, drawing on his end step. My main phase has me Swamp cycling a Troll of Khazad-dûm, and as I discard it, get the Hashaton trigger and pay for it to make a 4/4 copy of the Troll as well. I then go and find a Godless Shrine and play it, and pass to Max. Max draws and makes 4 black mana with Nykthos, and then uses some of it to cast Thought Vessel. He then replays Speed Demon, and he goes to combat, swinging the Sower of Discord at Mika. Mika takes 5, and Ian takes 5 from the Sower's ability. Max then moves to his end step, pinging us again and making some Plague Bearers, and then draws 4 and loses 4 from the Speed Demon, and before passing the complete turn, Mika casts a Growth Spiral, drawing a card and putting out Oran Reef. Mika's turn's got an island coming in, and he recasts Verazol, which comes in with 4 plus some counters. He then kicks a Roost of Drakes, copying it thanks to Verazol after removing some counters, and he then makes 2 Drake tokens. He then follows it up with an Elfheim Druid, and passes after that. Ian's turn has him casting Verdant Sun's Avatar, which as it comes in, has him gaining 5 life. He then gives it haste with the Otepec Huntsmaster, and goes to combat, swinging out at Max. Max puts his Plague Bearer in front of the 2 non-tramplers, and 3 Plague Bearers in front of the Curious Altasaur. This has Max taking no damage, but Ian does get to draw a card on his end step though, thanks to still being the Monarch. I draw and go to combat, and I swing my Troll at Ian for 4 to take the Monarchy. I then move to my end step and draw a card from it, but have to discard down to hand size. This allows me to discard a Runescar Demon, which triggers Hashaton, and I get to pay 3 mana to copy it as a 4/4 zombie. As it comes in, I tutor for a card, and then have to discard down to 7 again, and pass to Max. Max's turn has him once more activating Nykthos, this time for 6, and uses it to cast a Gishath Archfiend to wipe away all the small creatures. He then plays out a Plague Drone, and then goes to combat. He swings everything at Mika, although his creatures have -2/-2 on them. Mika then takes 6, which also has Ian taking 6 as well. Max then casts a Basilisk Collar, which I counter with an Offer You Can't Refuse, paying the 1 for Rhystic Study. This has Max getting 2 treasures, and he then casts a Resurrection Orb using the treasures, and passes. During his end step, he deals 2 to each of us with the Unclean One, and makes 3 Plague Bearers, and then draws 4 and loses 4 from the Speed Demon. Mika draws and plays a Forest, and then casts Verdaloth the Ancient, kicking it once. This has him making a Saproling token and 2 Drake tokens, and once everything's out, he activates Oran Reef to pump all of his new green creatures with a +1/+1 counter. Mika passes after that. Ian's turn has some Force coming in, and he then brings out Gishath. He gains 6 life but instead loses 6 because of the Plague Drone, and I strike a deal with Ian to make Gishath unblockable as long as he'll only swing a small attacker at me to take back the Monarchy. Ian agrees and sends a Curious Altasaur at me and his other 2 dinosaurs at Max. Max puts 1 of the Plague Bearers in front of the Verdant Sun's Avatar, but can't stop the commander damage from Gishath, and I take 2. This has Ian drawing 2, and then resolving Gishath's ability, flipping his top 7. He decides not to put any creatures into play off of Gishath because he doesn't want to lose life from the Verdant Sun's Avatar, so he just puts them to the bottom, moves to his end step, and then draws from being the Monarch as he passes turn. My turn has me playing a Swamp and casting Tortured Existence, one of the strongest cards in the deck. Going to combat, I swing the 2 tokens at Max, and he declares no blocks, taking 8. I then pass turn. Max draws, and then plays out Dissection Tools and Manifest Dread to equip it onto. Max then moves the Dissection Tools onto his commander by sacrificing the manifested creature, and then moves the Resurrection Orb onto the Sower of Discord. Max then plays a Swamp, and then moves to combat. He swings the Speed Demon at Mika, and the rest go at Ian. Ian blocks the Sower of Discord, while Mika casts with Broken Wings on the Dissection Tools, and then puts his Drake in front of the Speed Demon. Only the Gishath Archfiend connects, dealing 4 to Ian and Mika. In his post-combat main phase, Max then casts Vrock, and passes, dealing 5 total to us from Vrock and the Unclean One, plus making 3 more Plague Bearers. Mika's turn has an island coming in, and he recasts Verazol, which thanks to the commander attacks, has it coming in with 6 +1/+1 counters. He then moves the Lightning Greaves onto his commander, and I use Key to the City to make it unblockable before it happens, and discard a Cryptcast, and with the Cryptcast being discarded, I get a Hashaton trigger, paying to make a 4/4 zombie copy of it. Mika then taps Oran Reef to give his commander another +1/+1 counter, and he goes to combat. He swings his now unblockable Verazol at Max, who takes the hit, and Mika passes. Ian draws and goes to combat, once more swinging everything at Max. Max puts his Plague Bearers in front of the dinosaurs, and his Great Unclean One and Vrock in front of Gishath. Ian then taps out to activate Kessig Wolfrun, and targets the Verdant Sun's Avatar to pump it up. And with all the block and the trample going through, Max gets knocked down to 3. The Gishath damage for 1 unfortunately whiffs to reveal a dinosaur, so Ian just draws from being the monarch on his end step as he passes. During his end of turn, I activate Tortured Existence to get back the Rune-Scarred Demon and discard an Ashen Rider, which then has me paying 3 to Hashaton's ability, making a zombie copy of the Ashen Rider, and as it comes in, I exile the Resurrection Orb, and then we move to my turn. I draw and activate Tortured Existence, discarding the Rune-Scarred Demon again and making a copy. I then tutor for a card and move to combat. I swing the Troll at Max and the Rune-Scarred Demon and Ashen Rider at Ian. Mika responds by casting a Kicked into the Royal and copies it, and Mika makes a deal with Max to help try and deal with me by bouncing the Troll to save him, but I'm ready with a Force of Will to counter the copy that's targeting the Sower. Max does end up taking no damage, but both Mika and Ian get taken out. After that, I use Tortured Existence to discard Archfiend of Ifnir to get the Rune-Scarred Demon again, and then activate the key to once more discard the demon, making a token copy of it by paying for the Hashaton trigger and going to tutor for a card. You'll see that card very soon, as I cast Teferi's Protection to phase out, since I don't have enough mana to deal with Max's board otherwise. Max draws and plays Muraganda Raceway, and then brings out a Desecration Demon. He then casts a Mask of Grizzlebrand, as well as a Mortarion, but with no way to punch through the Teferi's Protection or stop Key to the City, knows that he's in a lot of trouble. I draw and discard Elish Norn Grand Cenobite to Key to the City, and pay 3 to make a copy of her, and I also have the Key to the City make Ashen Rider become unblockable. I then have enough to swing in and win the game. Game review time. This game was an hour and 20 minutes, which might surprise you considering it edited down to 11 minutes, but this particular pod likes to make a lot of deals, and that can add up and basically slow games down. I will admit that as soon as Tortured Existence came out, I probably should have been the main threat despite the fact that Max had a demon army, and I'm really surprised that Hashaton didn't at least get bounced back to my hand at least once from one of Mika's bounce spells. Otherwise, I thought Speed Demon was particularly sweet, and with all that reduction, Max being able to cast his commander for only 2 black initially, and then get all that card draw from it was awesome. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.